And match your colors. So I think for this I'm gonna start with just some dyes, something warm and cool. That's the easiest way to get it, but honestly, sky's the limit as far as how you want to layer these. But just because we have oxides, don't forget about your distress ink or even your distress stain, right? Because we've got some really great layers of color on this one too. We're gonna use this and a little pink raspberry. All right, I'm gonna start my background, a little bit of water. I'm going to go in here, I'm going to spray some of this, I'm going to spray some of this, I'm going to add some ink to this, and I'm still going to layer. Alright, I just need something dark. Alright, so here I added a little bit of stain. Why? Stain is the most fluid version of distress. Quick way to get a real good pop of color. Otherwise, you would be layering. So if you have stains, man, it's fast. It's a really fast way. All right. But in order for me to build any intensity, I still have to dry this. Right? Even though I'm sticking with warm colors, if I don't dry before I go in, it's not going to make this look any different. Pretty background. Makes me want a cocktail. Does. A little mahogany in there. It's going to give it that little punch of color. I love those little dots when that happens. I wish it would happen more. And then for a little texture, I'm just going to add some water. Anytime you add water to distress after it's dry, it creates a whole different background. All right, cool. That's our warm layer. So our dyes, as you can see, really intense in their color, really vivid. So that's going to allow us to now layer with some oxide. So now I'm going to take some colors of oxide, put a few colors down. I can multitask. All right, I'm going to spray with some water. And now I'm just going to take this background and we're just going to layer some pigment over the top of it. Okay. And that's what's really great about combining dyes and pigments, right? Our dye is going to be that vivid undertone, and because the oxides contain some pigment, it'll sit on top. If we did all dye, blue on top of red is going to be purple. It's not going to be blue. This will stay. And what I like about this is it does give you a different look than just doing all oxide. So don't be afraid to mix and match. They really are quite fun when you start doing that.
You would always do distress first. Distress ink.
Correct. Yeah.
Oxide on top.
Correct, because the dye couldn't sit on top of the pigment.
Okay,
pigment dominates dye, wins the fight.
Okay.
But it's really nice because we get those beautiful undertones of color. We get that kind of cool, milky opacity of an oxide, and it's really fun to mix and match. And again, even if it's a single color, so you could have done that same thing with that, where you started your base with peeled paint ink, and then just did like a little peeled paint oxide, and you get that punch of color with the oxidation. Hence why I've been doing these little mixes, because it's like, I love the punch of color, I love the opacity of oxide, so it's almost like amping up the oxide. Does that make sense? Like kind of adding more dye than I should, but it makes for a really cool background. It really does, because something like that, I mean, that's awesome. It's such great color. And it looks like it's super complicated, but it wasn't. Yeah, pretty awesome. Pretty cool background. And again, we're going from something that's just all chalky and smooth to something really vivid. Yep.
Now, if you did your glaze on top of that,
yes,
is it going to? How's it going to affect that? Is it going to affect your oxides different? Like on this one here, if you did that glaze, the distress glaze.
Nothing.
That one you did your stain as your base, right?
Yes.
Because it's not glossy, and it's because the
Correct.
oxide's on top.
Yep.
But it makes it permanent.
It does. It will make this permanent. So this is now permanent. I didn't do microglaze here, but I can microglaze the whole thing, and then the tag would be permanent. But it would still allow me to do something on this. So I could still do another layer of ink. I could still do, and I could put distress on this. I could stamp on it. I could journal it. But everything underneath is done. It's set. It won't move at all.
So your archival black, if you wanted to do a large stamp on top of that, it would hold okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, the only reason that paper became shiny is because it was shiny.
Was glossy, yes.
Yep. It's not going to make it shiny. But, I mean, microglaze has some really cool effects. For example, you can take microglaze. Where is that microglaze foam? Here it is. Like, I can take that, take a stencil. Oh, gosh. I'll just do plus signs. And I could go over a background with a stencil. And that is immediately permanent. So if I take another color, whether it's oxide, whether it's ink, doesn't really matter. Okay. I can dry it, and then I can do another layer. Yeah, it's awesome. It's really awesome stuff. It's that. So it's a sealer, but it's really an instant resist. It's immediate. There you go. Yeah. And there's nothing on it. There's no wax. There's nothing sticky. Nothing. So. All right. That was good. I need to take some of this ink off of my hands. That's going to do my